G'day everyone and welcome back to Educational Currency. And look, today we're going to be going over a healthy lifestyle and being paramount to supporting your education and your study plan. And really, I think I'm going to be letting Rob lead us through this one, as you've got quite an experience in the realm of fitness with your training, and even yourself. I hear you're very close to 50 and you're quite the specimen of a man, Rob. So look, let's start off quite generally. What would you say are some good points, some healthy habits that would support our young people out there?
As we said, healthy body, healthy mind. And what we're into is educating your mind. So, well, first and foremost, we could talk about nutrition and sleep. So those two, you have to have them down pat. There's no give or take with them. Nutrition is an obvious one. Processed meats, they're carcinogenic. High sugar, it's probably one of the most addictive substances, but you've heard all this before. So in the world of nutrition, let's say you needed a better diet, and a diet's a pretty bad word. You need a better lifestyle. I'd recommend go see a dietitian as a family and then move from there. And then the big one is sleep. This will either make or break you, absolutely. Research has said if you do not sleep a good 8 to 9 hours, you cannot learn that day. And if you don't sleep the day after, you will not retain that information. And that's a whole new topic as well that we'll look at. The research is out there. And now especially with our phones and our electronic devices and the impact that has on our sleep, especially kids today with gaming. It's almost handcuffing your feet in a running race trying to learn. So my biggest two things are nutrition and sleep. With myself, I did see the difference. I was getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep and I'd mentally push through that. And when the research came out, I increased it to 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and the benefits were astounding. I could not imagine at this age, physically and mentally, the sharpness and the results that I achieved in actually increasing my sleep. Because as adults, we always try and push harder, wake up earlier, try and get more done in your day. And it reached a point for myself where it was being detrimental. And when I actually I fixed that, everything got better. In terms of nutrition, I'd say the first thing you can do is absolutely cut sugar out. Sugar and alcohol, in my case, are pretty much the same thing. I eat sugar when I go out, sit at a restaurant, have a dinner. Okay, there's a piece of cake that's gluten-free, and I'd have that. I've got celiac disease, so I need that gluten-free option.
Not by choice.
Not by choice, and alcohol as well. It's something that's done extremely sparingly. At home, we do not keep any sugar in the house. So even as my younger kids, they go to parties, they give them a bag full of sugar. The kids may eat what they eat, they don't see, and I bag the sugar. I actually throw it in the bin. You do not need that lying around the home. If it is lying around the home, you will eat it. There is no way.
I know, I'm well aware of that. Don't worry.
There is no way around that. Coming back from my trips overseas, I teach seminars with jiu-jitsu there. I bought the kids Toblerones, nice those big sets of Toblerones that, okay, they'll enjoy it now and then. We finished it in 3 days. And it is funny to think of that, but then I went, okay, anything that's around the house that's got sugar in it, you will eat it. And just a cautionary word of advice that I've said to people that train with me, if you are eating it, just bin it.
Yeah.
So
take away the temptation.
If you're sitting down and you've got a 4-liter tub of ice cream, you've bought it. As you eat it, you're doing it compulsively. Do something positive that's compulsive. Grab it. You're looking at it. I feel guilty. Yeah. Well, just chuck it in the bin. Then next time you buy it, you spent the money. It hurts. You might not buy it again, or you may not buy it as much again. I was speaking to another friend of mine at the school, and we were mentioning, buying ice cream. I like going to a certain shop with high quality ice cream, and we spend $15 for the family. We get a little bit like a treat. And my friend commented, "Are you crazy? Do you know how much you can buy at Coles?"
Yeah.
I didn't say anything and went, okay, this is not good for the amount of sugar that you're eating. So with a healthy lifestyle, my first recommendation is clear the house of any sugar there is that would mentally sharpen your kids and yourself, and sleep. And we'll look at that as a separate topic. And anything else?
Well, I feel extremely guilty about what I have in my house now and what my family is currently eating. So let me just get over that for a second. But then if that's what we should not be eating, is there any recommendations on what we should be trying to target our nutrition at that can add value to our bodies?
Me personally, I recommend a very high protein diet for breakfast. And that can mentally get you ready for the day. Waking up in the morning, get a good amount of sunlight in your eyes, natural sunlight outside, and then have your breakfast, and that'll be a really, really good start to you mentally and cognitively being able to learn. Then we have to look at hydration as well. You want to keep hydrated during the day, but also don't forget that you do need salt. I find the best thing we use at home is hydralytes. You can buy them from the chemist. They're nice long blocks. They look like ice creams. Kids at our age were used to super dupers once upon a time. A stick of hydralyte after a hot day does wonders for you mentally. Even though you've been drinking water, you do need that salt intake. I know you get some people telling you pinch this much salt in, pinch that much salt in. The taste may not be too good and how much salt is enough, but a stick of hydralyte from the chemist, I find is very beneficial for adults and kids.
And you obviously really need those hydration. Like I've seen your videos on social media at the end of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sessions.
Oh, yeah.
The mats are just flooded with sweat.
Flooded with sweat.
You're mopping the floor.
You'd probably drop about 3-4 kilos of weight. So you do need to bring that water back in, but you have to have that sodium intake. When you go to the hospital and they put you on a drip, it is sodium that they put you on to rehydrate you. And even ourselves as a family, they come back from school, as the kids go to training, each one gets a stick of hydralyte, chop it at the top, and it becomes like a treat for them as well. They are tasty.
And with that too, obviously, you do training obviously quite often.
Yeah.
The realm of physical activity being an important part of young people as well, having that in their schedules too, that they're being active and they're kind of awakening their bodies through physical activity. What would be the kind of recommendation you'd be giving to young people there as a part of their study plan with the inclusion of physical activity in there?
Well, at a certain point, you have to move your body. And the best thing I would recommend, if you are sedentary, you haven't moved your body yet, walk in one direction. Pick 15 minutes and go for a straight walk, but walk with purpose. So I'm going to reach from A to B a certain distance, then I'm going to make my way back. So what that gives you, walking, you're projecting your body forward. So in this case, you're actually building muscle on the leg, muscle on the calves. So let's say you do that 2-3 times a week. You should feel your legs, calves a little bit sore. So what you do then is increase the distance that you're walking. 15 minutes, have that on the clock, as fast as you can walk, get there, come back. Then at a certain point, you could increase to a little bit of a jog. But still, where you get to in 15 minutes, make your way back. I guarantee you, after a certain number of months, you will run those 15 minutes. And after a certain time, run 5 kilometers. Measure the time you're doing 5 kilometers. Could be half an hour, could be 32 minutes. Then you bring it down to under 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and then you're really fit. I've had one student, he's a teacher now. I mean, he was very, very sedentary in his life when he was in high school. Coming to training, the man does, I think, 5 kilometers in 18 or 19 minutes now. And it's just a matter of conditioning yourself. We've got a teacher at our school. He's actually a little bit older than me. I consider him a mentor. At 30 years old, he was overweight and he started running and he trimmed himself right down. And now when we have our cross country, he runs with all the students. These are the U12s, and he always gets a top 5 place.
Yeah.
And this is against,
it's quite
kids,
amazing. He's
kids
extremely fit.
Extremely fit kids that are athletes. And from what the other teacher said, he wasn't when he was 30.
Yeah.
So you can always change it, bring whatever your condition is, you are what you've done the last 5 years, I'd say.
And it's actually a really good example you gave there of the starting off with the walking as well as your basic foundation, because I know when I walk and I go out for a walk, it's not just good for my body, it gives you a chance to think and it supports mental health, doesn't it? And that's another important feature, supporting mental health as a part of it. These activities such as walking, what else would you be saying activities could support that mental health side as well?
Oh, just to clarify, pharmaceutical companies cannot produce a drug that your body produces from exercise. If they did, it would be the number one company in the world. It would be the most valued company.
Al Natural is the best.
Al Natural. Yeah. So if you have the means, a little bit of weight could be good. Or come and join us for jiu-jitsu.
Got to get that plug in there.
Get that plug in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But obviously those activities
for high school kids, if they're sedentary, go for that long walk. Even take your child for that long walk and together push it. It's not easy once you've got into a high carbohydrate diet. Even, for example, there's no sugar, but you eat a lot of rice. The body changes it into sugar anyway. You eat a lot of carbohydrates, the body changes it into sugar anyway. So your insulin level spikes, and then when it drops, you're tired, you just don't want to do anything, you can sit on the couch, which is naturally what our body does. So as a parent, grab your child, go for that walk, and you'll see the benefits.
And that, once again, almost brings us back to that whole idea of having schedules during extremely stressful times, like studying for the HSC, that these things should be a part of that schedule. It is not a healthy habit to be just focused on study with nothing outside of that. By having times for physical activity or getting out of the house for mental health and go on these walks, extremely important. Obviously in supporting that mental health, giving your brain a break and obviously letting it rejuvenate and process things in mind, and then obviously coming back to that. Extremely important, that schedule being a foundation.
Absolutely. It goes back to our previous talk on actually creating a schedule. Within that schedule, you do want to create these activities. Now, for the others that do have a physical activities during the week with sporting commitments, etc., then you have to address sleep and nutrition. So once you get into a good habit and a good lifestyle, everything changes. Not just your child, your whole family. And I think it's been researched and documented enough where if the parents and ourselves can do that, it just makes the teacher's job so much easier.
And the final thing I want to highlight, and one thing that I also see through your social media page with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, with physical activity and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, the social connections that are developed. Like you said, either whether it's just going out for a walk with your child to support them and being able to have those chats while on the walk, or joining a group such as in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the bonds that are formed. And even within school too, you know, the clubs that are formed, computing clubs, debating and all that, the bonds that are developed there, those being very important foundations of a healthy lifestyle.
I'd say, and people can contest to this, there's nothing worse than being socially isolated. That would be the biggest key indicator to, okay, something's happening here. Should be addressing any mental issues. So we are humans. We do need that human interaction. And I think with a healthy lifestyle, with having that balanced approach to the schedule, you are opening those doors to actually having those human connections, having the energy to actually go out there and create those bonds that are very important for us.
And I think it's just a very easy habit to fall into, just to get so focused. And even beyond school, even in our lives, with our work, you know, if we're starting a business, whatever, it's so easy to fall into that circle where we're so focused on work. And just keep that in mind with our young people too, just that how important those connections are. But, you know, just to break away, to share ideas, you know, it just supports the mind and is just a part of a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. And I say it to all the parents, you are the final product of what your kids will become. We can influence them a certain way. We'll teach them the best we can. We try and improve. That's what this podcast is about as well for me and you. But at the end of the day, as a mum and a dad, you represent them as adults. So at home, if the parents can change into a more healthier approach, that always filters down to the kids. I've had the conversations with parents where they say, oh, I've put on weight, kids don't finish their meal and I seem to be finishing it. What are you feeding them? This is what you need to address. And as parents, we all want the best for our kids. We all want our kids to be better versions of ourselves. But if we can be better versions of ourselves, our kids will become that. And this is the biggest thing I'd like to get across through to this podcast, is if a parent can become a better version of themselves, it's almost a guarantee that your child will take that to another level.
They are the ultimate role model. That's what you've got to remember at home, that your child always looks up to you. Even during those teenage years when you're going to be clashing, they're only temporary and they're always going to be looking at you as kind of the template for guidance. So any type of these habits that you can express yourself, they will follow. And that is just, once again, the importance and the influence of the parent as the ultimate mentor.
Absolutely. And this is such a big topic that we will need to have a talk on sleep. We'll need to have a talk on nutrition. It'll be a separate talk on social connections. We'll bring in psychologists in to actually give us an indication, experts in these fields.
I think that is a great place to leave it for today. So thank you for your input there, Rob. I feel like
Pleasure.
I've learned too much. I'm going to go home and throw away all the sugar now.
Just chuck it in the bin.
The kids aren't going to be happy with me, okay?
They don't need to see.
All right. But thanks for watching today, guys. Take care.
Okay, thank you.